All right, we're going to go ahead and get started today. Our video today is I can represent 3D shapes using nets made up of rectangles and triangles and calculate the surface area. So make sure you have your notes page and a pencil because we're going to be doing some work today. All right, so let's get started. We're going to talk about surface area. Surface area is simply the area of all of the surfaces. Yesterday we looked at nets and we talked about nets. So the surface area is simply the area of all of the faces. So like for example, if you look at this cereal boxes, I have this face and I have the side face and this one and the bottom and the top, and then of course the back. Even though it's not shown, there's the back face. So the surface area is looking at all of those faces and calculating the area. So using the nets, what we did yesterday, is really going to help us to see it all, because when you see a picture like this, you might forget the back or the top because you don't see it. So that's why nets are going to be really important. And also remember, we're still talking about area, so all of our units should still be squared because we are talking about area. All right, let's look at an example. All right, so when I find the surface area, the first thing, like I said, is we want to draw the net. If it's not already given to you, you want to go ahead and draw it, especially at the beginning. It's going to help you. Now, as you get more comfortable with finding the surface area, you may not have to draw the net, but I do want you to draw it for right now. I want you to label the sides if they're not given to you. If you look in this case, they're giving you the label of the side or even the dimensions. Then you're going to go back and you're going to find the area of each of the face. Each one of those faces, you'll find the area. And then after you have the area of each face, you'll go back and you'll add them all together. And that's going to give you the total surface area. Okay. When I think of surface area, I kind of think of like a present. Like when I wrap a present, I'm going to have to use more wrapping paper because I'm not just going to wrap one face of the box. I have to wrap all faces of it, the bottom, the top, the sides, and the front and back. So let's do an example. All right, so here is my rectangular prism. I went ahead and drew the net for you this time, but there will be some where you will have to. Hopefully, if you notice about this, a rectangular prism, they are all rectangles. These are squares, but they're all rectangles. So if you look, hopefully you're seeing that. I know in your case it's not colored, but that this blue one and this blue one are the same. So they should have the same area. So let's just get started. So I'm going to call this the area of the first figure. So again, it's length times width because we're looking at a rectangle. So it's 10 times 10. So that's just going to give me 100 square inches. Okay. But now because it's two of them, I'm going to have to multiply that by 2 because I'm looking at the area of this one and this one. So this one is 100 and this one is 100. So altogether, that one's 200 square inches. Okay. Now I'm going to move to the green ones here. So this is, I'm going to call this one the area of the second one. So area of the second one. Again, it's length times width. So my length is 15 and my width is 10. So 15 times 10. So my area is 150. Again, I have two of them though. This is 150 and this one is 150. So I have to multiply by 2. So that gives me 300 square inches. All right, my last ones, I'm looking at the area of my third rectangle. So area of the third, again, it's still length times width. So my length I still have is 15. My width, if you look at it, the width here is not given, but you look all the way across over here, it's still by 10. So again, that one is 15 by 10. So that's 150. Again, there's two of them, so I have to multiply by 2. So that's 300 square inches. So the surface area of all of this, I would need to add them all up. So 200 plus 300 plus 300 equals, that's 6, 7, 800 square inches. So that's the surface area of all of those faces. Okay? All right, let's try another one. All right, the surface area of this rectangular prism. All right, the hard part for this one might be you drawing a net, or at least putting the dimensions with the net. So go ahead and take some time and draw the net, and then come back and let's see if we can label it. Label where the dimensions go as well. So take some time and do that. Pause the video and come back and let's just check if you've labeled it correctly. All right, here is my net. Let's see how you did. So again, I'm calling these top and bottom, side, back, front, and side. You don't have to label what's inside of here if you don't want to, but you do need to label the dimensions. So I have a 5 by 7 rectangle, and that is, I'm going to call that my top and bottom. So there's my 5 by 7 and my 5 by 7. So these two go together. So I'm going to call that number 1. Those are my number 1s, okay? My back and front, so here's my back. It's my 7 by, oops, sorry about that. That's my 7 by 4. So that is my back, and this is the front and then in the back. So I'm going to call that number 2. And then my sides is going to be, this is my 5. Oh, my pen is going nuts here. Pen's going crazy. I'm going to have to pause for a second. All right, so my sides were 5 by 4. So there's 5, and then the height is 4. So those are going to be my sides. So that's rectangle number 3. All right. All right, so the area of my first ones, let's see, that's length times width. So that is a 5 by 7 rectangle. So that's 35. Again, I have to multiply it by 2 because there's 2 of them. So that's going to give me 70 square feet. Then the area of my second rectangle, this one right here, that's a 7 by 4. So that's 28. So again, I have to double it because there's 2 of them. So that's 56 square feet. And the third one, length times width. So my third one is a 5 by 4. So the area is 20. Double it, and I get 40. So all together, that is 70 plus 56 plus 40 equals 9, 16, 166 square feet. Okay? Hopefully you did great with those. Let's go to the next one. Go ahead and turn the paper over on the back, and let's look at pyramids. All right, pyramids are no different than the rectangular prisms. We're just looking at different shapes here. Again, you're still going to find the sum of the faces. So the only thing different is my faces are different. I actually think these are easier because we have one square or a rectangle bottom, and then there are going to be triangles around it. Okay, so nothing different except for we're just looking at triangles instead of all rectangles. So let's go ahead and do an example. All right, so here's my triangle, my square pyramid. So the first thing I want you to do is go ahead and draw your net. Take some time, draw your net, and put your labels with them, and come back and let's see if you did them correctly. All right, so here is my net, and I went ahead and put my measurements with them. So I have a square, and I was telling you here the square is a 7 by 7 square. So that's where I put in my 7s. And then my triangle, I told you here the height of my triangle is 9. So the base is 7. So all of these bases are 7. And then the height of my triangle is 9, which actually makes it pretty easy because you have 4 triangles. So let's first start off with, I've got one square. So the area of my square is length times width. So that's 7 by 7. So that's simply 49, okay, centimeters. So I only have one, so that means I'm finished with that one. So now let's move to my triangles. So the area of the second one, let's go with this one, that is base times height, and then divided by 2. Oops, let's go there. Base times height divided by 2. So we've got 9 times 7, and then divided by 2. So that's 63 divided by 2, and I get 31.5 or 31.5. Now, that is for this triangle here, but the nice thing about that is it's the same as this one, and this one. So all of the triangles have the same area. So I just need to multiply by 4 triangles. So that gives me 126. So now I need to add the area of the triangles and the area of the rectangle, and that gives me a total 126 and 49. That gives me a total of 175 square centimeters. Okay? All right, let's move on. Let's do one more example. All right, why don't you go ahead and do this one on your own? Let's see, did I give you 2? No, I'll do this one with you, and then we'll do one more. Go ahead and draw your net and your measurements with them. Take some time and come back and check when you are finished. All right, here's my net. Please don't laugh at my drawings. You know I cannot do them very well. All right, so there's my net. My square is a 3 by 3 square, and the height of my triangles is 4.5. 4.5. All right, so it makes it easy. So number 1, the area of my square, length times width. So that just gives me 3 by 3. So the area of my square is 9 square inches. And the area of my triangles, can't keep up with me, going too fast. So the area of my triangle is base times height divided by 2. So 3 times 4.5 divided by 2. So 3 times 4.5 divided by 2 is 6.75. And again, I have 4 triangles, so I need to multiply that by 4. And that gives me 27. And we're looking at inches, square inches. So now I just need to add my 27 and my 9 plus add it. And that gives me 36 square inches. Okay? All right. This is your practice. On the bottom of the page, you have extra space to do these 2. I'm going to be looking at them tomorrow. So go ahead and do them, and I'll be checking them tomorrow. Have a great night.